Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here with another video from E3. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about Forza Horizon 4, which is probably the game that I've played the most at the event, doing the demo about 5 or 6 times now, although this gameplay is going to be of my first time through it. Now, in this video, I'm going to be sharing a bunch of really cool details about the game that you may or may not know, including how long the seasons last, and a bunch of new features they're adding. And at the end of the video, I'll talk a little bit about my gameplay impressions, which you could imagine are pretty positive considering I love the Forza series, and this is a bigger, badder kind of extension of that. Now, we sat down with our director, Benjamin Penrose, who gave us a couple of stats about Forza in the past years, including that 22 million players have played Forza in some capacity in 2017, with 9 million players on Forza Horizon 3. And this new game, Forza Horizon 4, is built around some core values, which include fun, freedom, beauty, and community. Basically, it's about having fun in cars with friends. The game will release for Xbox and PC. It'll support HDR and 4K, and the map is roughly the same size as Forza Horizon 3, which I actually think is a good thing. For some reason, bigger is always better when developers announce stuff, but for me, it's more about like the density of things, how fun the map is, and just making it bigger doesn't really change the gameplay if you're just filling it with empty space, you know what I mean? So the game is built around 3 ideas that kind of are all connected, and those ideas are location, seasons, and quote-unquote the Horizon life. So I'll talk a little bit about what each of those kind of pillars means. Starting off with location, the game takes place in Britain. Now, obviously, there were a lot of rumors about Japan, but those seem to be somewhat untrue. This is somewhat of a homecoming for the studio, since the studio is located where the game is taking place. A lot of the kind of research came from a more personal place, and it's a bit of a passion project for the people developing it. And the next kind of pillar was probably the most important and the coolest one, which was the seasons, which you've probably seen on screen in the gameplay and part of the announcement at E3. So obviously the seasons include the fall or autumn, winter, spring, and summer, and those are all dynamic, and they are supposed to change everything about the game. As time passes, the world's supposed to change and evolve, so one winter is not supposed to be like the next winter. You'll have different events, different things to do with your friends, and the map will kind of change as time goes on. That even extends to the audio. All of the audio is very seasonal, so you'll have a windy autumn day with leaves rustling. During the winter, you'll have like a whooshing wind, and so on. Now, the one thing that surprised me the most was the length of a season, so how long the day and night cycle is. I thought it might be a couple of hours or maybe a couple of days, but it's actually 1 full week. In real time represents 1 season. So you start on a Monday and it's spring, all the way till next Monday it's going to be spring, and then it will go into summer and so on. You're basically going to experience all 4 seasons across 1 real-time month. They also said that the seasons play into the tire pressure quite a bit, and that was one of the major changes they made mechanically, was that tire temperature and surface will react differently, and the seasons are going to play a large part in that. So we'll see how that kind of pans out, but that is something they seem to be talking about quite a bit. Additionally, they mentioned that the location of Britain and the seasons, they kind of had to go hand in hand. You kind of needed Britain for seasons, and you needed, to have seasons for Britain, and vice versa. Without one and the other, they kind of would fall apart on their own. The last pillar they talked about was the Horizon life, which is basically just a lot of quality of life improvements and having the game kind of be quote-unquote always online, although there is absolutely a single-player option. So in the kind of Horizon life section of the little presentation we had, they talked about having a shared world online with a bunch of random people, And they talked about how in previous games you were always on this holiday or like this vacation where you were trying to become a megastar. But in Horizon 4, it's not really a holiday. You live in Britain and you have a career as a racer. You're basically living at the festival. You can have a house and a job, they actually mentioned. And there is, like I said earlier, a solo mode. And you won't be dropped to the main menu for dropping your connection. Another couple of cool highlights they said about the online stuff is that you can pause and do photo mode online, which I don't think was available before. You can actually rewind in online, which I'm 100% certain is new in some instances. And auto ghost as well for people who want to basically troll you and hit you online. The game will automatically turn them into ghosts so that they don't actually ruin your life. And another thing they mentioned that I was actually very surprised about was that apparently you can progress through the career and not have to do races. So if you are like a painter or a tuner, you can progress through the career only painting and tuning. They actually said that you can even make additional progress in your game if you play while streaming to Mixer. So they said that they wanted to really open it up to everyone, and if you're just someone who wants to sit there and paint cars, you're apparently going to be able to make progress through Forza Horizon 4. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means you get more money. I don't know if that means you level up. I don't know how deep that kind of system is, but it was cool to hear, and we'll see how it kind of pans out. A couple of new requested features, they said. 3 in particular kind of stood out. There is a new route creator for the blueprint system. You can kind of create an exact route through the map and not just kind of point to points or pick certain races. You can kind of have more flexibility there. There should be a more competitive kind of online scene with team modes and leagues. And one other big feature is the ability to have a 60 FPS mode. So 60 frames per second is what we're used to in the Motorsport series, and that's pretty huge. I did ask about the resolution, and they were unable to make a comment about that just yet, but I would imagine it's not going to be in 4K. We're probably looking at 1080p or 1440p, and obviously this feature is just available on the One X. Now, another thing I asked about were barn finds. Barn finds are back, but they didn't really have anything more to say. And in the menu of the demo, I saw a tab called Houses. There are 10 houses scattered around the map, and I guess you can probably find them and buy them, but they didn't really tell us more about that system. Houses and barn finds are not the same thing. So that's more or less kind of all of the info we got about Forza Horizon 4 at this little presentation. And, you know, some of those were just kind of given to us. Some of those were prompted by questions. But nonetheless, that was a lot of cool info, I thought. And I played the game before the presentation, and I was more or less blown away, as I always am, by Forza games. You can see my gameplay on screen. The demo kind of takes you through a 10-minute series of showing you all of the seasons. It shows you a bunch of different cars. It shows you the new McLaren Senna cover car, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a preview of what to expect. I wouldn't be surprised to see this demo on the Xbox Live Marketplace closer to the game's launch in order to try to drive pre-orders. So what did I think about the game? Well, it's obviously more Forza Horizon, which isn't a bad thing. Forza Horizon 3 was a great standout racing game, one of the best of maybe even all time. And Forza Horizon 4 kind of follows suit. It has crazy showcase events. The car list is a little smaller, but it does seem to have quite a few new additions that weren't there previously. The cars handle great, and if all of those online features are there at launch and work properly, I would imagine there will be a lot of happy people. I'll probably enjoy Forza Horizon 4 the same way I enjoyed Forza Horizon 3, which is mostly offline, on my own, trying to grind through money and the career and leveling, and I'll have no problem doing that. The game feels fantastic, and obviously it's going to be a great game, and I'm excited for you guys to get your hands on it soon enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can drop a like if it was helpful or informational, or you just enjoyed watching it. Thank you so much. Special thanks to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you guys next time. Peace.